Hey, welcome back, all you amazing dinar investors. Let's look at today's news. There's some interesting pieces. Let's get into it. And there's some of the information could seem very confusing. So let's get into that as well. All right, first article here. It says, this has to do with, let's look at the article aspect of it first, and then let's cover it. It says, there were two articles this morning on this. It says the Sudanese MP resigns from Parliament and a replacement is preparing. Okay. Second article, I think that's the same one. Yeah, sorry about that. Put the same one twice. No worries. There were two, though. Let's cover the article and then we'll get into the meat of it. It says the outgoing Prime Minister Sudani relinquished his membership in the House of Representatives on Sunday after winning the recent elections. They're telling you he won the elections. It says it right there in print, okay? It says after winning the recent elections. Okay, very simple. So they said that Sudani won the elections. Very simple. A parliamentary source told the news that al-Sudani has relinquished his membership and his replacement is supposed to take the constitutional oath in tomorrow's session of Parliament. Okay? Now, hold on. I want to check something real quick. It's important to cover all these bases here because I think that's very misleading. I don't think tomorrow's agenda or schedule for session of Parliament said anything about anybody government related taking constitutional taking an actual constitutional session of oath tomorrow. So let me look at, I'm actually on a different screen that you guys can't see. You know what, here, I'll just, let me brighten up. So there's the other half. So here's tomorrow's session of Parliament. I'll bring up the schedule on it. And for me to translate this, guys, I'm going to have to move it over to a whole different screen. Hold on. Because it's an image. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to hold on. Here we go. Alright, let me bring over the translation on it. Here it is. Okay. Right here's the translation. Taking the constitutional oath for some of the ladies and gentlemen of Parliament, okay? Voting on the parliamentary committees of the council. Now, so one thing we want to pay attention to in this, so they are going to, some members of Parliament will be taking constitutional oath. What we need to see tomorrow is who those individuals are and for what positions. Again, who the individuals are and for what positions, okay? Now that you know that, let's move on. Okay, let's go back to our actual article now. So again, according to tomorrow's agenda, some members will take it. Now, let's look at this for a second, though. Why would a member of Parliament, why would a PM be sworn in? It says Iraq's political system, the reason Prime Minister and MPs must be sworn in before Parliament is rooted in the Constitution and the principle of democratic legitimacy. Here's how it works and why it matters. Constitutional authority comes from Parliament under Iraq's Constitution. Real political authority flows from the Council of Representatives of Iraq. Members of Parliament are elected by the people. Parliament represents the popular sovereignty. Any official who wants to exercise state power must first be recognized by Parliament. So the oath is how an official legally becomes part of the state system. Without it, their mandate is incomplete, okay? Oath makes an election legally active. Winning votes alone is not enough. Even if someone wins in the election, like Sudani or Nuri al-Maliki, they are not officially an MP. They cannot exercise parliamentary powers. They are not fully recognized by law until they take constitutional oath in Parliament. The oath in what turns election results into legal authority. Okay, separation of powers, avoiding dual roles. Iraq follows a parliamentary system where parliament equals legislature, government equals executive. In principle, one person should not permanently control both. When someone becomes a prime minister, they must focus on running the government, not voting in parliament. So when al-Sudani resigned his MP seat, he avoided holding two powers at once. He respected separation of powers. He allowed his bloc to replace him with another MP. This keeps the institution balanced, okay? So Parliament confirms that the government's legitimacy in Iraq. The prime minister is not elected directly by the public. Instead, Parliament elects the president. The president nominates a PM, okay? So Parliament approves the PM and his cabinet. So again, that's a final step you'll be looking for to know the government's done. Again, we need to see Parliament approve the PM and his cabinet. The PM and his ministers take an oath. So Parliament is the body that authorizes the government. The oath symbolizes we govern Parliament's approval under the Constitution. Without this step, a government lacks full legitimacy, accountability to the people. By swearing in before Parliament, officials commit publicly to respecting the Constitution, protect sovereignty, serve citizens, follow the law. Since Parliament represents the voters, this makes leaders accountable to the public, not just to their official party. It's a public contract between officials and the people. Why Maliki's missing oath matters. This article mentions that Maliki has not yet taken his oath. This is because it is important because it means his parliamentary status is incomplete. His political position is unresolved. He may be waiting for negotiations to finish. He cannot fully act as an MP. In Iraq's system, delays in taking oath often signal political maneuvering. Why this is especially important during a deadlock. Right now, Iraq is in a political crisis. No president yet. Government formation is delayed. Leadership is disputed. In this situation, following constitutional procedures strictly becomes even more important. Al-Sudani's resignation and replacement oath show respect for the system, commitment to legality, avoidance of institutional chaos. It helps keep the state functional even when politics is stuck. Bottom line, Prime Minister and MPs must be sworn in before Parliament because Parliament gives legal authority. The oath activates election results. It enforces separation of powers. It makes the government legitimate. It creates public accountability. It prevents power grabs during a crisis. In short, no oath in Parliament equals no full legal authority. That's why Sudani resigned his seat properly and why his replacement must be sworn in. So here's essentially what they're saying. It's right here. Okay. Sudani, they're saying Sudani has resigned. Okay. But he's still the leader of the caretaker government. Okay. Remember, they're still in a caretaker status. But no replacement to no replacement to Sudani has been sworn in yet. Okay, that's the critical piece you have to watch. Okay, will there be a different person sworn in? Okay, and again, in tomorrow's session of Parliament on the left half, they're suggesting that they're going to have a constitutional oath taking place for some ladies and gentlemen of Parliament, but will any of them be a replacement to the position of Prime Minister? That's what you're looking for tomorrow. And I don't think there will be, okay? I think that this is going to be misleading information, okay? So I hope that helps you guys out. Let's get into the next round of information, okay? All right. Although Maliki still has significant support, he lacks traditional two-thirds backing. Okay, that means right there he would never win. He doesn't have a two-thirds majority. So he would not win the PM position. Very simple. if those stats and numbers remain true according to that. Out of the 12 political forces within the coalition, only 6 remain committed to Maliki's candidacy. Okay, so again, right now, it says out of 12 political forces with the coalition, only 6. So he being Nouri al-Maliki for the position of the PM, only has half support, 50% support for becoming a PM. He doesn't have a 2/3 majority. Okay, very simple. So right now, he's not even worthy and doesn't have enough member support, block member support, to achieve a 2/3 majority. He only has 50%, so he's not there yet. Okay, again, Maliki's foot is not in the door for the position of PM. Okay, very simple. The Parliament's leadership is meeting with the heads of parliamentary blocs to finalize the issue of parliamentary committees. So again, you guys saw that in the left half right here. It says second, voting on the permanent parliamentary committees of the council. Again, that's in tomorrow's session of parliament, okay? So my comments, I said pay attention and see if this actually happens. The commission determines the name of the Sudanese replacement for membership in the House of Representatives. We'll see if that actually happens tomorrow, okay? It may not. Again, that's an important step to observe right there, okay? It says the crucial hour begins tomorrow. Baghdad brings together Talibani and Barzani to end the presidential and governmental crisis. Key points. The State Administrative Coalition is scheduled to hold a decisive meeting on Sunday evening. That actually means tonight, even though the article, like the title, kind of mentions tomorrow. They're saying tonight because there were other articles, not just this one, stating that they were going to have a critical meeting today, Sunday, to try to resolve the political deadlock. Okay, it's that simple. We'll see what happens. Recent news from last Thursday to yesterday, Saturday, suggested they might be having and holding a session of parliament this week to resolve the position of the president, okay, and have and hold a parliament session for that, okay? So we'll see what happens. And again, even regarding the president, he only has 6 out of 12. He has a 50% majority, not a 2/3. So he doesn't have enough backing to achieve the prime minister or premiership position, okay? Very simple. Okay, right here, the coalition governing the state is meeting. Again, this is a second or additional article to the one I just showed you. Again, more than one article telling you they're going to have a meeting today to resolve the presidential governmental deadlock, okay? The federal court will rule on Wednesday the appeal against the decision to increase custom tariffs on a parliamentary demand. And as you see, this article is telling you, remember I told you right now that until they form the government, nothing's moving forward that's rate change sensitive. They're telling you right here that they're not even able to implement any type of tariffs or anything, because right here the federal court will rule on Wednesday on the appeal against the decision to increase customs tariffs on parliamentary demands. So they'll probably shut down the tariffs, will be my guess on this, because again, the rate hasn't changed yet. They can't. Here's the thing, you got to realize something. They can't outright tell you that they can't implement or increase custom tariffs because the rate hasn't changed, so they have to give you a different reason. Okay? So that's what this will cover. But they're saying that the court will announce a ruling or decision against increasing tariffs. Again, the real reason, though, is because the rate hasn't changed. Very simple. It says right here, again, we already covered this one actually in the very beginning of this video. Right here it says Baghdad markets see widespread protests over new customs tariffs. Again, the court will be announcing a ruling on that this coming Wednesday. I already showed you guys the agenda for Monday. We covered that at the beginning of this video. Lending within residential complexes continues according to approved policy. That's for houses and solar and stuff. Minister of Trade. There will be no price increases and we will not allow them. Again, this has to do, I believe, with the customs tariffs and the court announcing a ruling. Yeah, it says, under this government, through continuous measures that included all aspects of the economy, the implementation of the Asset system means controlling the borders, preserving the currency, preventing smuggling, and preventing the depletion of the currency, noting that customs tariffs is set according to the law as the case in countries around the world. The delay in deciding on the presidency has hindered the appointment of the prime minister. We're looking to see what happens. Again, they're supposedly having a meeting on that this evening about the presidential deadlock. They've also said over the last few days they might have and hold a parliamentary session this week to vote on the president. We just have to wait and see what happens throughout this week. Herbal issues new instructions to standardize the taxi signal, not real critical. The Sudanese government directs service efforts. You must adopt the financial situation in 2026. In this article, okay, it says the Prime Minister Sudani directed the completion of ongoing projects and the adaptation to the financial situation for 26, stressing the commitment to specifications and the adoption of transparency in work during his meeting with the Service and Engineering Effort Team. The Office of Sudani. The Prime Minister Sudani chaired a meeting of the Service and Engineering Effort today, Sunday. During the meeting, the completion of rates of projects for 25 were discussed according to the prepared plan in light of the financial allocations for each service sector and ministry. In Baghdad and the governance, the team's plan for 26 was also discussed and reviewed. Sudani praised the team's work and efforts in implementation projects that targeted areas that had received any service from state or civil department and its ability to provide services throughout the government's term, about 5 million citizens. The Prime Minister directed the need to complete ongoing projects and adapt to the financial situation for 26, stressing the commitment to specifications and the adoption of transparency in work. And then it says here, the party, we will hold a meeting on Wednesday to finalize the agreement of the position of the presidency, or position of the President of the Republic. So they're saying that they're going to have a meeting today, Sunday, another one this coming Wednesday, and they're doing that to finalize the agreement of the President of the position of President of the Republic. And then we'll see if that's true. We'll see what happens after that, if and when they schedule a session of Parliament to vote. And that is it, guys. That is all the latest news. Let's see what happens. Again, I would take a lot of the news with a grain of salt right now. Let them actually announce dates. If they've had meetings, let them announce what the results or outcome of the meeting was. You know, try to look more for real information, not just statements from them. Statements don't mean a whole lot. They talk a lot, and a lot of things don't really deliver, okay? So, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens regarding this aspect right here. You know, it says here, Sudani received over 92,000 votes. His coalition gained more than 400,000. I showed you right here, it says the House of Representatives on Sunday, or right here, I'm sorry, the outgoing Prime Minister Mohammed Shia Sudani relinquished his membership in the House of Representatives today, Sunday, after winning the recent elections. They clearly state in print that Sudani won the elections. It's not opinion, okay? So let's see what happens tomorrow. Let's see if another person actually takes a constitutional oath to replace him in tomorrow's session of Parliament. That's very important in this, to see if this news is credible and true. Thank you for joining, and have a great Sunday day. Take care. Thank you for joining.